So the new PGA CEO, or Grand Poobah of Master and Space and Time and Dimension, Brian Rolapp, has already come out swinging. For those people that don't know, Brian spent 22 years in the NFL. A lot of people thought Brian was going to be the heir apparent to Roger Goodell as the next commissioner of the NFL, but Roger has no intentions of leaving. I don't blame him, and so Brian went somewhere else, and he's already swinging a big bat. In a press conference before the Tour Championship at Eastlake, he basically said we're going to have significant changes to the Tour's current schedule, the current model. He says the goal is not incremental change, the goal is significant change. And to that I say, thank God. Because Brian is a guy that I've known for a long time in the NFL. He knows how to get things done. He knows how to market a product. He knows what you need to do to make the product more marketable. And let's just start with one of the first things he's done. He's hired a competition committee. For anybody that has any association with the NFL, there is a competition committee in the NFL of coaches and general managers and front office people that look together and decide what can we do every year to modify things. This is why you get things like the dynamic kickoff, or moving the PAT back, which is one of the greatest rules of all time. It made the PAT a real play again. So Brian is not willing, or is willing to mess up what has been in standard position in golf to make the product better. And you've heard me say this on my social channels before. As soon as Brian got the job, I said, Brian, you've got to move the PGA Championship back to August. It is ridiculous for all golf fans to watch what Scottie Scheffler did at the Open and see the fact that he won his 4 majors 1,197 days apart, the exact same time frame it was from Tiger Woods' first major to his 4th major, 1,197 days. And we don't get to see where Scottie can go for 9 more months until the next major in Augusta in April. That is patently ridiculous, okay? The PGA Championship in May has been in some places where it's freaking cold, man. 2019, it was up at Bethpage Black. 2023, it was up at Oak Hill. How much better would those places be if that tournament and that championship was played in August? And oh, by the way, here's another brilliant thing Brian Rolapp did. You know who's running, or basically the chairman of the competition committee? It's Tiger Woods. He has tapped in to the greatest golfer, in my opinion, all time. Some will say others. That's your prerogative. To be the guy that says, we need to do this, we need to do that. And Tiger's already tweeted about it. Honored to serve as chairman of the future competition committee. This is about shaping the next era of the PGA Tour for our fans, players, and partners. So in other words, listen to what the big cat says. And I guarantee you he's going to say, we can't have the majors end in July. Like, this idea of one event from March to July every month sounds great, but in reality, it doesn't really do the players a lot of good. I think we move we keep the Players Championship in March. We have Augusta, the Masters, stay in April. Then we have a little lighthearted month in May where people can prepare for the next big run of major championships. U.S. Open in June, Open Championship in July, PGA Championship in August. And if we're real golf fans, let's be honest. Look, they all count. They're all 4 majors. But are you going to tell me you can find a plethora or even a high percentage of players that will say the PGA Championship is on the same plane as the Masters, the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship? If they say that, that's the only major they've won, okay? Because they're not being truthful. Look, it's a major, don't get me wrong, but it's not on the same level as the other 3. What makes it on the same level as the other 3, if it's your last chance. If it's your last chance to grab a major, suddenly it becomes a lot more elevated and a lot more interesting. So the idea of moving the PGA Championship back sounds like a great idea to me. Now, some people say, well, what's going to happen then with the FedEx playoffs, which we have the Tour Championship coming up this weekend, or middle of August at Eastlake? Figure it out, okay? People are so terrified of the NFL ratings, which, by the way, they should be. 77 of the top 100 rated TV shows last year were NFL games. 77 out of the top 100 rated TV shows last year were NFL games. But you know what? I'm not sure a golf audience is really a football audience. I think they don't cross-pollinate as much as people think. Golfers want to watch golf. They'll find a way to watch golf. Now, I don't want you to play a Tour Championship into October like they used to back in the day, but you can go into early to mid-September and you're fine. And that would allow the PGA Championship to go back to August. And it would also elevate some of these other events that have sort of been lost in the wash by not being elevated events. You know, the Texas two-step, the Colonial in Fort Worth, the Byron Nelson in Dallas, those used to be really big events. But because they're sandwiched around those 4 straight months of those majors and not elevated events, the fields have been so watered down for those events. Let's restore some of that history to some of those events by reworking the schedule and making sure you have Tiger Woods in charge of this. Guys, he's not going to, he's not a significant figure on the tour in terms of competition and ability to win anymore, but everybody respects him. Justin Thomas was just talking this week about how he thought he was cool 2 years ago, FaceTiming Tiger when he was at the Tour Championship and Tiger didn't make it. And then Tiger acted like his phone was cutting out and called it right back, and he put on his green jacket at the Masters, basically saying, I just dunked on you, bro. You have 2 PGA championships. Call me when you get one of these. And Justin admitted it. That was my mistake. That's the kind of cachet Tiger still has with these players. They know who he is, they know who he was, and they know what he brought to the game. And Brian embracing that might be the smartest thing he has done in less than a month that he's been on the job. If you get Tiger on your side, every other top player will say, yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me. And then there's the whole issue with LIV. I mean, does LIV even live anymore? Does it exist? I mean, look, let's be clear. There's a ton of people that make a lot of money in LIV, and they have really good players. But as a product, is it any good? Nobody watches it. Can't really find it. I think they average like 150,000 viewers at an event, and the regular tour stops are getting over 3 million. It's kind of been dunked on. And when this whole fracturing of professional golf started, LIV had the upper hand. They were throwing money around. They got guys like Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, big names. But then the product never went anywhere. The product has to be good. Jon Rahm just won the LIV season-long championship by winning 0 LIV events. Joaquin Niemann, I think, won 5. How does Jon Rahm get the $18 million bonus for being the best player on LIV by not winning? That's how ridiculous LIV Golf is, okay? So now, because nobody's really caught on to LIV, this merger between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf that was supposed to be set a couple years ago, PGA Tour's like, hold on a minute. PGA Tour is thriving. Numbers are up. Scotty Scheffler is doing Tiger Woods type things. People are more interested in the PGA Tour. LIV? Oh yeah, you guys do some stuff with shorts and flash mobs, right? Good for you. Grow the game. Jon Rahm's career has been decimated by him going to LIV. When he was first approached in 2023, he said, no, I'm about legacy. I'm about championship. I'm about competition. And then they slid a piece of paper that had about $250 million on it. Suddenly he was okay with it. Have you ever seen Jon Rahm in a LIV event? He looks like he would rather be somewhere at a knitting circle at a nursery home. Okay? That's how bad he looks like he doesn't want to be there. It has cratered his competitive career. He was the best player in the world. My friend Justin Ray called him Jon Rahm, destroyer of worlds. The things he was doing when he was winning those 2 major championships and in contention for every one of them. 3 rounds at LIV, no real competition, music blaring. He looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. And I think a lot of those LIV players, well, let me be clear. Guys like Rahm that know they can still play at a high level, they won't say it, but they regret it. They absolutely regret going there. Now, they don't regret the money. It's life-changing money. I understand that. But Jon Rahm said, I'm about legacy. I'm about competition. Legacy and competition do not live on the LIV Tour. The only thing that lives on the LIV Tour is money. And here's to Brian Rolapp taking that hammer and swinging it and finding a way to fix the PGA Tour, because we cannot end our major season on July 20th. And that's straight facts only.